Hi everyone, it's me, Alex the Booktuber, back at it again. And for tonight's video, I'm going to be doing something that I haven't done in a long time. And it's going to be a book haul of books that I got all through August. And let's dive into tonight's video. It's showtime! Here's package number 1. I got Graveyard School, The Tragic School Bus. It's kind of like the Magic School Bus, but a little scarier. It's got kind of that Magic School Bus reference, but I'm sure this book is just as friendly as the Goosebumps books too. And I cannot wait to read the Graveyard School book series someday. If you guys think this would be a good series as a possible recommendation, then go smash that like button if you think those books would be great for you. If so, that's great. Now let's move on to the next one. This one's called Revenge of the Dinosaurs. Check out that T-Rex on the front cover. Boy, does he look angry. I'm gonna open the next one now. There we go. This next one's called Let's Scare the Teacher to Death. Oh my goodness. This is kind of like a Wizard of Oz reference, kind of like where Dorothy Gale accidentally has her house fall on the Wicked Witch of the East, and then all that will be left of that witch is her wrinkled old little witch feet. And life lesson, kids. Don't ever do anything to scare your teachers. Especially to this lady. Because you never know what can happen if you scare someone like that bad. If you guys think this is an important lesson, especially to my younger viewers out there, then go give this video another like if you think this is a good message. If so, then I respect you all for it. And please don't do what any of these kids are going to be doing to that teacher. I got The Fright Before Christmas. And I think this book's gonna be kind of like A Christmas Carol or something. And I think this will be a good book to read, especially around Christmas. If you all agree with me, then you can go like the video again if you think this will be a good idea for some of you to read during Christmas. If so, then that's awesome. Oh, there's 2 books in this one. I got The Abominable Snow Monster. Boy, does that snowman look really scary. And Graveyard School Slime Link. Ew, this monster sure looks dirty and green. I got 2 more books. Tales Too Scary to Tell at Camp. I mean, I do understand that a lot of you kids like to tell scary stories by the fire. And I think it's pretty fun too. And there's a ghost in the boys' bathroom. Oh my. if I saw a ghost in the bathroom, like at my old school, I don't know if I would ever want to go. Unless the ghost is friendly. But don't worry, not all ghosts and monsters are scary or evil. Some of them are actually nice, sweet, friendly, and sometimes just misunderstood. Now I'm going to move on to the last few books that I got. I bought 2 of them when I was on vacation. I got the School for Good and Evil Never Ever School Handbook. It tells you about a lot of the students that go to the School for Good and the School for Evil. Like, it'll tell you like what school supplies to bring for whichever school you go to. Like whether you are gonna be on the side for good or if you're on the side for evil. And here's the next book I got. This is Beyond the Isle of the Lost, Wonderland. I know I've already read this book, but this is the Barnes & Noble exclusive edition. And I personally enjoyed reading that book just before Descendants: The Rise of Red premiered. Oh, and there's exclusive content as soon as you finish the story. And I will read it to you guys if you want. Meanwhile, Mal gripped the side of the carriage as it bumped up the rocky road. Through the misty forests of Camelot Heights were beautiful, and the sweet, almost briny smell of the pines reminded her of the sweet sea surrounding the Isle of the Lost. She wished King Arthur would pave the roads. Maybe it was something they could discuss at today's meeting. How much farther? She asked Ben, who was seated on the cushioned bench opposite her. In the small window behind him, Mal could see their driver struggling with the reins as he urged the pair of Auradon horses up Camelot's hill. Ben grinned at her. Getting motion sickness already? Mal stuck her tongue out at him. We've been on this road for 3 hours. I'm kidding. I'm tired of it too, he said, stretching out his legs and bumping hers. His tall frame was cramped in the small royal carriage. But we're almost there. He turned and looked out the window expectantly. Like magic, Mal saw the soaring turrets of King Arthur's castle begin to appear up behind the treetops. She sat back in relief as Camelot came into full view, its grand stone walls towering high above the tree line. Hey, there they are. Ben touched his finger to the glass and pointed at one of the lower balconies of the fortress. There, waving with both arms, were Evie and Jay, whooping and calling out to the travelers. Doug stood next to Evie, grinning from ear to ear. The sight of the group cheered Mal immediately. Hey, she hollered. She stood and opened the side window of the carriage, leaning out and causing the cab to jerk to one side. Don't break your neck before we get there, Ben said, pulling her back, but he was laughing too. In no time, the two were alighting from the royal carriage in front of the enormous oak doors of King Arthur's castle. Their arrival for an official visit on Mal and Ben's tour of the United Kingdom of Auradon saw a cheerful welcome. Jay, Evie, and Doug rushed down to meet them. King Arthur greeted them warmly. Auntie sends his regards. He'll join us this evening, the king said, but in the meantime, there may be some other familiar faces around the castle. Including us, Jay said, giving Mal and Ben a bear hug. How's the hunt going? Ben asked Evie. Wonderful, she said, clasping her hands. Doug and I found some great fabrics at the Camelot Heights markets, and I'm already getting inspiration for next season's styles. How cool would tapestries look? She jerked her thumb over her shoulder to one of the many woven hangings on Camelot's walls. This one fittingly depicting Arthur himself pulling the sword from the stone. Tapestries on handbags, jackets, pencil skirts, three-piece suits. Evie listed, her eyes glittered. I'd wear it, Ben laughed, very medieval chic. Has Jay been helpful? They couldn't have carried all those rugs from the market if I hadn't been there, Jay said, sniffling. So it's a good thing I tagged along. I wasn't about to let all of you hang out in Camelot without me. Well, I'm glad we'll get a chance to see everyone at once, Mal said, especially you, King Arthur. I'm not sure we've formally spoken yet. How have things been around Camelot Heights? Very, very well, Arthur said, but we're looking forward to working with you to make them even better. We're looking forward to it too, Mal smiled at him and Ben. You'll get a different answer if you ask Archimedes, Doug said, scratching his head. He's been complaining from the moment we got here. Evie giggled. He means well, I think. Archimedes tells it like it is. King Arthur laughed. He may well be a useful advisor to you one day, King Ben and Queen Mal. But please come meet the rest of our guests. Make yourselves comfortable. He led the group through the grand halls of the castle, lined with suits of gleaming armor set on pedestals and the richly woven tapestries that had caught Evie's eye. At least they came to a great throne room, which held the famed round table, around which Arthur and his contemporaries were said to meet. The table, huge and made from English oak, was painted dark green and cream and carved with the names of the king's original knights. Already seated with mugs of hot apple cider were 3 other members of royalty and a very elderly owl. Queen Mal, King Ben, King Charming said, rising and shaking both their hands. Queen Ella did the same. I hope your journey was a smooth one, the queen asked. Smooth? It was. Mal started. hesitating when Ben discreetly elbowed her. Beautiful, she finished, elbowing him back. The scenery is breathtaking around here. King Arthur beamed. Ben, Mal, we'd like to introduce you to our daughter, Chloe, Ella said, gesturing to the young girl at the table. Chloe rose, pushing her curly blue hair behind her ear and smiling eagerly as she shook the hands of Mal and Ben. It's great to meet you both, she said. I've heard so much about all your adventures. Good things, I hope, Ben chuckled. And bad, added Mal. It's good to meet you, too. Chloe's going to Ordon Prep next year, Doug chimed in. She's been wondering what to expect. Ordon Prep. Archimedes. Merlin's right-hand owl spoke up wistfully. He gestured toward the 3 cups of steaming hot cider in front of empty spots at the round table for the rest of the guests. It used to be Merlin Academy, mind you, before the committee decided to change the name, he continued, somewhat begrudgingly, his feathers ruffling. It used to be Merlin Academy, mind you, before the committee decided to change the name. He continued, somewhat begrudgingly, his feathers ruffling. But perhaps it was for the best. Quite a bit of trouble when Merlin was headmaster. It's grown a lot since then, King Arthur said. I know I was a handful enough for you back when I was a student. I always wondered how you managed with hundreds of students instead of one. What kind of trouble was there? Evie grinned wickedly, taking her seat. Oh, cursed vines, stolen books, dragons, a mysterious disappearance. The stories I could tell about your parents, Archimedes hooted. Archimedes hooted. But perhaps I'll save those for a different time. I'm sure I can imagine, Mal shook her head. My dear Archimedes, Ella nodded at the owl. Don't you go telling tall tales about me in front of my daughter. Are they tall tales if they're true? Charming winked at his wife. Like what, for example? Chloe asked, raising her eyebrows. Something about unauthorized use of magic, trespassing in the dungeons, an epic battle. Something about unauthorized use of magic, trespassing in the dungeons, an epic battle. Archimedes guffawed, then cleared his throat when he saw Ella fixing him with a regal glare, but I couldn't really say. But I couldn't really say. My memory isn't what it used to be, alas. Nothing you need to concern yourself with. The Queen took a prim sip from her mug. Doesn't sound like it has our generation of Ordon Prep beat, though, Jay said, crossing his arms. We got some stuff. It's a wonderful school, Evie said, smiling. You'll like it a lot, Chloe. All I've ever had are lessons from my tutor and governess, the princess confessed, wrapping her hands around her mug. They're both chill, but I can't imagine what a real school is like. And Chad never really told me much about it, she shrugged. Chad, I bet he didn't. Jay snorted. Then he glanced at King Charming and Queen Ella. I mean, because he's such a busy young man, he finished. Charming and Ella smiled at the compliment, but Chloe smirked, seeming to know how Jay really felt about her brother. Chad has his moments, I guess, Evie said under her breath. Then to Chloe, well, for starters, I'm sure you'll make lots of friends. And everyone lives on campus, so you'll get to see each other all the time, Jay grinned. You might even make friends with the people you'd least expect to, Mal said, looking slightly at Ben. That's important, Doug added. You never know who's going to end up being your closest buddy, or your business partner, Evie winked at him. But besides all that, the class's rules, said Jay. My favorite was history with woodsmen and pirates, so be sure to check that one out. Best grade I ever got. I'm sure you won't have to take remedial goodness, Chloe, Mal quipped. The others are interesting, though. Life skills without magic was tough, but it ended up being useful. I've had to look at more than one checkbook while reviewing Auradon's finances. Do you like sports? Evie asked. The princess nodded. A ton. I was thinking about joining the tourney team. Jay pounded the table with his fist. Fighting Knights all the way. Sorry, he went on when everyone jumped. I just really love tourney. What position? Chloe laughed and shrugged. Oh, I don't know, but the forwards always look so cool. Let's go, Jay whooped. Forwards are the best. You'd make a great one. It's not too dangerous, I hope, Queen Ella said, clicking her tongue. The others shared a look. The dragon cannon that aimed to knock the players over was no joke. And Jay had taken more than one illegal tourney stick to the head. Well, I survived, Jay said mildly, scratching the back of his neck. There are plenty of other things as well, Evie broke in. If you like singing, there's an a cappella group. And yours truly influenced the creation of a sewing club, she said modestly. That all sounds awesome, Chloe beamed. Mostly, I'm really into history. Well, that's great, Mal said. Auradon has the best library in the kingdom, and you'll find new things to be interested in, too. Before I ever came to Auradon, I wasn't always sure where I belonged or what I was supposed to do, but the school gave me a place to figure that out. Chloe nodded, and Ben raised his mug of cider. Well said, Queen Mal. To anything being possible. Hear, hear, King Arthur said. They clinked cups all around. I'm sure it will be more peaceful, though, with no more villain kids at Auradon Prep, Chloe said once everyone had taken a sip. I know they were, well, villains. No offense. She glanced at Mal, Evie, and Jay. But I'm sure it'll be different now. Chloe, Ella said only slightly reproachfully. Oh, Mom, Chloe replied. Isn't that a good thing? Not to have too much trouble? It's true, Evie sighed. The VKs are a dying breed. Ben and Mal exchanged a glance. It seemed the others had forgotten. There might not be any villain kids at Auradon Prep these days, Mal said slowly, but there is still Wonderland. The end. Wow, that was the best content I ever read from that book. And speaking of books, the last one I have is Disney's Descendants: The Rise of Red, which is from the movie. And there's some photos that are from the movie as well. Like, there's Fairy Godmother, Uma, Princess Red, the daughter of the Queen of Hearts. There's Bridget, Red's mother from when she was younger. And there's Chloe. Oh, and there's the OG VKs like Ileana, who is the younger sister of Ursula. And there's Hook, Hades, Maleficent, and Morgie, the son of Morgana Le Fay. And there's Ella, Chloe's mother from when she was younger. And on the front cover, there's the Queen of Hearts, well, when she was still evil, and that's Red's mother. And there's Queen Ella, aka Cinderella, who is Chloe's mother. For those of you who haven't seen Disney's Descendants: The Rise of Red, I think you should go watch it, and also can go read the book that I just read. This is really good too. Then go like this video if you think both ideas are great. If so, then I'm doing it right. Well, that's all the time I have. I hope you've enjoyed. Please make sure you don't forget to go like, subscribe, and turn on those post notifications for when you want to see my next video. And please don't forget to go follow me on Instagram and on TikTok. I hope you all had a good summer break. I sure did, too. Thank you. Good night.